We are live. Welcome to Staking Mondays. My name is Ken, and I'm here with the co-founder of Staking Rewards, Marco Schmiedel. And today we have Deepanshu Tripathi, founder of
live. Welcome to Staking Mondays.
And AssetMantle is a creator-centric framework for NFT marketplaces that provides users all the elements required to create individual marketplaces. So, Deepanshu, let's jump right into it. Some lightning round questions. What was your first investment outside of BTC and Ethereum?
Like my first investment definitely initially was like Atom. Still very like a big holder of Atom. I always believe the tech and always believe in that particular token. Yeah.
Awesome. That makes sense. And what do you think is currently the most underrated crypto project outside of AssetMantle?
I'll have to go back to Cosmos and Atom for the same. I think it's still very underrated for the kind of technology and tech community is built around it.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. And what NFT project got you really hooked onto NFTs?
It was definitely Comdex. Why? Because that particular project utilized NFTs for tokenizing real-world high-seas commodity, and that was super interesting to see a use case outside of just the art and collectible NFTs. Yeah.
Cool. And who do you like? Who inspired you the most in your crypto career?
I think I'll have to say it's gonna be Vitalik because of the technical communication and the commentary on how technology and the socio-economic aspects collide with each other. That he's kind of been my biggest influence.
Yeah, great to hear. And that's definitely a common answer to that question here on the show as well. How much of your personal portfolio is staked?
So I would say it's majorly staked. I'm a big user of P-stake liquid staking. So I'd say like kind of 80% plus definitely staked.
Awesome. That's great. And what's an activity you do to relax from the wild NFT crypto markets? What do you do for fun?
I swim a lot. I love swimming. I've been doing it competitively also, but like not after joining crypto though.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. So a competitive swimmer. Awesome. Okay, so let's hop into some of the topics that we'll be discussing today. So just to summarize, we're going to dive deep into AssetMantle's positioning in the NFT market landscape today, AssetMantle's key value-added role in the NFT marketplace, defining the NFT use case today versus what it will look like in 5 years, from status to utility, how NFTs will become increasingly important to all kinds of blockchain activity beyond the Bored Ape style proof of status, Web3 gaming and play to earn, and whether NFTs need their own dedicated blockchain in light of the fireworks seen over this past weekend. So let's hop right into it, guys. And for everyone watching today, feel free to comment any questions you have for Deepanshu, and we will certainly be able to get to those at the end of the episode during the community section. Okay, so let's start. So your website kind of makes you out to be a Shopify of NFTs. Is this intentional? And do you think of your primary audience as the NFT creators or the NFT consumer purchasers?
So like the biggest problem I think I've seen with respect to adoption of like the blockchain technology, Web3 technology in general, has been the friction that the non like crypto or non crypto native people have to like and the learning curve that the people have to go through before they can make their first make the incentive of for participating in the ecosystem. And that's especially true for creators. Like, why should a creator have to know like what gas fees is, what Web3 is, or how much what a private key or seats are, how to secure them, and like learn about all of that stuff, right? They should only worry about like what they're good at, which is creating art and creating awesome and beautiful art, right? So majorly we wanted to like reduce the whole like friction that the creator community faces, which is a the learning curve, b the cost it involves, c the technical know-how it requires, to build a marketplace. So that's why we initially are very creator centric, and trying to get as many like new entrants, not only from the creator side but also from the collector sides who are not crypto native, making it very easy to step from Web 2 to Web 3. So yeah, the primary focus right now are definitely creators, initial phase, and then later on we're going to shift towards community, which is going to be and going to stay focused on curation and discovery and marketing. And finally we're going to get super focused on collectors and how to solve issues that they face. So it's like kind of a phased focus for us.
That makes a ton of sense. Just getting like the artwork on the platform first, and then the community will follow. Like have a stepped rollout there. So when you think about your own product market fit and what you are doing compared to like others, or like what others are not doing, are you trying to harmonize the NFT auction process, or is there like some really key feature or set of features in the NFT market that you think is missing from the typical NFT transactions today? Or like where do you differentiate yourself, kind of? Yeah.
So there are a few points of differentiation that we are trying to tackle here. First of all, majority of the NFT projects out there have been built on like smart contracts on layer one, and the power consumption and the overhead transaction processing overhead for NFTs technologically is becomes a blocker. There are a lot of big marketplaces out there that the front ends do not perform as well because of the technological issues with asynchrony, with the blockchain being non-finalistic and probabilistic, etc. So that's one thing that we're trying to solve, bringing like the Tendermint core consensus engine into picture, bringing low gas fees, bringing in finalistic, like quick finality, non-probabilistic transactions. On top of it, reducing the overhead of processing the transaction, which through a virtual machine, and implementing all of the NFT code at the blockchain module level itself, so that the TPS could be increased, the gas it requires to process transaction could be reduced, and the overall power consumption, gas consumption, etc. could be reduced. So that's from the technological aspect, like a core infra aspect. From the protocol aspect, the one big problem that people face is there not being one singular place where you could view all your NFTs. There's not one wallet where you can just go and see where your NFTs are. Every different like a marketplace has a different web app, and you can only see the NFT that you have in that web app at that particular platform and nowhere else, right? Which is like from a user perspective the big interoperability problem. Like I don't have a, like as we call it, mantle place, place where you keep all your NFTs. Have a marketplace called mantle place, by the way. So I mean that's the one big like friction that people have, that if let's say one new NFT project or one friend of mine were to drop in an NFT somewhere on Ethereum on some smart contract, technically, if I did not knew what the contract was, I'll have to scan all the NFT contracts, thousands of NFT contracts, to check to get where my NFT is, right? Same with the web app. I have to go through thousands of web app daily. If there is a random mint that has happened that I did not know about, check and see if I got something or not, right? But what if I had just one wallet where I can view all, irrespective, and just one place where I can view all of them, and don't have to scan contracts, but the wallet itself at a native level shows me the NFTs. So that's one huge friction that we are trying to reduce and minimize. On top of it, there are multiple things like you being able to send your NFTs out to other blockchains, you being able to attach your NFT wallet with your identity, giving it a social aspect to it. So yeah, that's one, like operations wise, from end user wise differentiation. The third, from the community aspect, from the creator aspect, the differentiation that we're trying to bring about is uh, like uh, making the whole onboarding journey very frictionless with respect to technology and the cost it takes to onboard. On top, not only helping the creators through the technological aspect, but also helping through DAOs, curation, verification processes, and marketing and art and price discovery processes as well. So these are the major three prongs which we are focusing on: the technology, the UX, and the creator aspect that we are trying to modify the way NFT projects have been built so far.
Yeah, definitely very novel prongs to work on solving these friction areas. The other side, Meta, had, for instance, people trying to mint land deeds in that metaverse were paying 2.5 ETH in gas fees. It was a gas war that broke out this past weekend. So the first prong that you're trying to solve there is definitely very relevant as of just this past weekend. And so, how do you guys deal with NFT security, the subject of security here? So often NFTs are used as vehicles for inserting malicious code into users' wallets, and this is a common new way to rug NFT purchasers. How do you guys alter the NFT transaction flow or change transaction experience or security environment to reduce the likelihood of this happening?
Yes, that's a great question. So, like in from what can be like read through, or the information that we see about like how some of these hacks have happened, I would say like majority of the ones that I have seen and analyzed have happened through the Web2 component of the whole flow that actually got compromised, leading to the like Web3 component also being compromised. So, for example, some of the marketplaces, the exchanges are done through the Web2 component. There is no like they're not smart contract based. Listing may be done through the Web2 component. Offer and the communication that happens to the Web2 component. The social media handles that get compromised, and like stuff is sent out, that happens to the Web2 component. So overall, like the first thing that we've tried to tackle is make everything Web3 first. So like the exchanges, the bidding process, the royalties. Of course, the royalties are baked in at a protocol level itself. All of these components have been like defined at the Web3 level to reduce that one piece of um, uh, the, compromise, the attack surface that Web2 brings along with it. The second thing that we have seen that leads to a lot of compromises is mishandling of keys. Now we are tackling a whole new set of users with the AssetMantle, that not only creators but collectors, that we are trying to bring to our platform for the first time, bring to Web3 for the first time. And a lot of hacks happen through compromised keys. So that's why, and this learning comes from us having built like Web3 platforms for like Web3 use cases. How do we build a like way of on-chain authentication that even if you compromise your keys, you are still able to recover and retain your wallet, because there's no backend that you can call up and be like, hey, I lost my keys. How do I recover, right? So the way that we have done is through something called inter-identity. So like your wallet is actually linked to your identity, and the addresses are just authentication mechanisms. So you can add multiple authentication mechanisms or multiple keys, and even if you lose the seeds for one, even if you lose the device on which the seed was there, you don't have to worry. You can directly delete that and like add a different key, remove and keep on rotating the compromised key. So you may end up losing your seeds, but you will never end up losing your identity. So like that leads to like a bunch of attack surface getting reduced as well. Third thing is the hacks that happen through homo I forget the word, homoglyphic or homographic uh, uh, mechanisms, which is I try to mimic someone else, right? How do I like on blockchain, I just see you as an address of like a fixed length hash bytes, right? A Web2 component is showing me what that hash bytes translate to as identity, who logged in with that, right? But at the end of the day, majority it's anonymous. How do I like get to know about an identity, or if verify if this particular hash belongs to a given person. Again, the identity comes in play. You have human readable identity, you have human readable on-chain issued identities that you verify and see and understand, rather than having to depend on a Web2 component to tell you that, hey, I am the real Bored Ape Yacht Club and this fake one is something else, right? So yeah, these are the three things. Fourthly, there is no smart contracts on our chain. All the we do have WASM smart contracts, but that's just to build in sandbox utilities on when the chain is live, not as a permissionless smart contract, because right now I think the technology is not ready to have permissionless WASM contracts. So all of our modules integrate with WASM smart contracts to be able to introduce new utilities on the fly, but there are no smart contracts at the module level itself, which implies that uh, like although the protocol allows for many different kinds of flows, there is no entry point for malicious code to enter inside the transactions that we do. It's all vetted, tested in a test net, and although overall it becomes a slower process, but it becomes a more secure process to be introducing more code to a running blockchain. So yeah, I mean, these are the four main areas: web reduce dependence on Web2, identities, and protocol level code, blockchain level code that we depend on to reduce the attack surface.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, just like stripping down some of that to really increase the security. I think that's a pretty good approach. So I'm very curious about your take on NFT industry in general. Like currently it's primarily like crypto outsiders, and like it's like they're seeing NFTs as like consumer status signals, and for some crazy pseudonymous world, and there are probably a lot of insiders as well, and they're seeing it as like the whatever, like fancy, like a status on like a Gucci bag or whatever. And like, what do you think about the general market outside of like NFTs as status symbols for this world? Like, for example, as KYC passports, or royal enabled digital art, on-chain credit scoring, and all of that stuff. Like we did some experimentation with that at Stake Awards too, where we just created some NFTs and sold them as like advertising slots, so you could claim the NFT and claim your advertising spot with that. So like there's so much more to it, and where do you see the industry heading towards to, and what's the role of AssetMantle in there?
That's a awesome question, really, because me and the team members that are working in AssetMantle, they have been working on NFTs for a very long time, and the first use case that we ever picked was NFT use case itself, Comdex, Commodity Distributed Exchange, Comdex platform was built to enable trading and financing of commodities through blockchain, through Web3, so that the information recorded there, like the main purpose was not to have a crypto-based commodity sale, but to have a MIS system, management information system, where which is unhackable and can the transaction can be utilized in a code of law as logs towards if a conducted transaction happens. So those NFTs were huge. They used to, some of the NFTs used to have 70 different fields on top of them, and would have and PNCs, different PNCs, 1,000+ different ways in which exchange could happen. And in fact, when we started building the project, we did not even know that the term NFT was a thing. We just build it out as data objects, as models that you would build in a MVC project, right? That platform is right and working right now, and doing a lot of transactions at the same time. And that's where we started from. Even Cosmos ended up publishing an article which acknowledged our team as the first in the world to do a NFT IBC, non-standard IBC transaction. and when we were building AssetMantle, we had in mind all the different kinds of use cases that NFT in future should be able to accommodate for, not just the like current use cases that we see in terms of art and collectible uh, with some attached utilities. But at the same time, like we were a little early with respect to that, and the kind of utilities that we built in, not even exposing all of them with the first iteration, keeping it simple, only focusing on the current use cases which are prevalent, which is like art and collectible based use cases. But our platform is built out to enable use cases as complex as commodity trading, and we call it a multi-tenant platform, which implies that multiple different kinds of like use cases and platforms could onboard on top of it as a like a persistent layer, and utilize it to store the digital assets ownership and enable workflows that could be as complex as a high-fee commodity trading workflow. Uh, so that's the first view, that the use cases are not only limited to just collectibles, but it should basically allow for like any asset to be like represented on chain and at a cost and a TPS that like literally if you wanted to have like let's say all the vehicles all on chain represented as an NFT, like you should be able to do so, and like enable things like let's say mutable aspects or privacy along with it. The second thought on which NFTs are valuable and which are not. So like yeah, in the past, like we have been building like AssetMantle. The first demo was actually built out and like made public in last year's like December. So like, but at that point there were no like buyers for NFT. There were no people who were bullish on NFTs at all. So we like kind of put that on a back burner, and right now we see a huge explosion, a Cambrian explosion of NFT projects, and even people are trying to are struggling to understand like what do NFT actually mean and what the value is. So like I thought about it a lot as well, like what does constitute valuable NFT. When cryptocurrencies came out, the general populace used to call it like magic internet money that only the internet nerds use. It has no value in real world and will never have a value in real world. And look at us now, right? In 2022, it does have value. Now we know. NFT is the same thing. People call it receipts of like Web2 images, on-chain receipts of Web2 images that you bought, which I do not hold any value. But like, yeah, I mean, 2030, who knows? we, would, we would not be repeating us the same statements. But through my analysis, what I've understood is whatever is not on-chain is not valuable in the long term. The thing that gives value to an NFT on chain is its unerasability, or like how do I put it? It's non-ephemerality, right? If I buy an image on top of Web2, like it may not exist like let's say the next 1,000 years, but the Bitcoin that I bought, $0.0011 worth of Bitcoin that I bought would be maintained in my account for the next 1,000 years if the Bitcoin chain is live, right? And the same guarantee should be given with the NFTs that people are selling. But majority of them do not come with those guarantees. Majority of them come with Web2 resources that definitely will not last maybe next like 2 decades, let alone a millennia. So yeah, I mean, I think whatever kind of data can be put and be valuable on chain, that is only on chain and not dependent for its majority part on the Web2 aspect. That's what I would call a true valuable NFT.
All right. So your assessment is basically like most of the hype and status signaling that's going around was like the bored apes of the world and stuff. Like that's like it's a hype right now. It will go away, and we will go more towards like real like blockchain utility NFTs, where the use cases of an NFT are like really in the center, of the actual objects. Is that right? Like this is where you see like for the next years the industry heading, or?
Absolutely, that's where I would see the industry heading, and I mean the history repeats itself as would like if you were to look at let's say mobile applications when phone came around, or like websites when the internet came around. A lot of them were considered valuable just for their association to the new technology, the internet, or being a mobile app or something. There was a huge bubble around mobile app startups. Majority of them like won't even do anything. Like the peak of it was, I guess, there was this one app that I saw that you can add friends to and just send a bro to them whenever you wanted. And like that app took off and made like thousands of dollars on the marketplace, right? So initially, when a new technology is exposed, even with respect to tokens, right? When Bitcoin came out, there were so many new tokens that were created that had no utility at all. Some of them even alive till today, right? The doggy coin, right? No utility. Mentioned the same thing. Also, meme coin. No utility, but it's a coin. So for the sake of it, it has value. I think there's something similar is happening to NFTs as well. It's a little frothy right now, the market, and the understanding of the technology and the use cases is not very known either to the creator nor to the collector. They're still exploring and understanding what gives it value, what doesn't. And there would be a lot of NFT projects that are there just for the sake of it. But I think overall, like we saw in with respect to applications, like we saw with respect to website, and like we see even with respect to the top 100 cryptocurrencies as well, all of them are alive only because they have a utility attached to them and no just meme value. I mean, some of the meme value ones are still alive. Like that's not a correct statement as well. But yeah, I think utility-based NFTs are how this technology, this particular new asset class is going to survive in the future.
Yeah, and I guess one more open-ended question. What do you think about this play-to-earn aspect of the NFT economies around Web3 gaming? Do you consider that to be utility, or what are your thoughts around play-to-earn?
Definitely, I think even as a gamer myself, that's one thing that I have always regretted. In fact, I was reading one day, the reason why Vitalik Buterin even started building Ethereum was because he used to play, I guess, League of Legends or
World of Warcraft, actually, yeah.
Would play one game a lot and was not able to all the grind that he had done and the items that he had done he was not able to effectively exchange, sell, display, collect, show these off, and that's where this whole thing started from. And me as a gamer, that's the same thing that I faced, that hey, I made so much effort on this particular thing, and in this very small universe, in this very small piece of code, does it have any value? And no value outside, right? So what if these digital earned trophies, these digital earned objects, I could have it as a reconciliation free being the most important pointer here. Reconciliation free object that I can display, trade, own, keep with me even if the code that operationalizes it does not exist. What if I'm able to utilize? And it's a huge use case. And I think that's how we transition from the normal Web2 based social media to metaverse, where ownership of digital asset is given value for the first time and made easy. And yeah, NFTs are the way to go. I think metaverses are just people would argue, what's the difference between a metaverse and video game, right? There are a lot of online games that that you can say that these are metaverses, right? I think the only differentiation is the ownership, the digital asset ownership, and the value that you give the assets in that digital space. That differentiates a metaverse from a plain old video game.
Cool. Deepanshu, do you want to share some quick thoughts of you on the recent happenings on the Ethereum blockchain with ApeCoin and the other side land sale? What happened with the Ethereum gas fees during that auctions, and what's your take on that?
I mean, like uh, in general, uh, never a person to criticize other innovator and projects that are trying to build something at all. And I haven't even actually like done a very deep technical dive on this particular issue. My knowledge is limited to the analysis I read from more knowledgeable people. But yeah, with respect to the gas fees, uh, um, so in distributed system, there's a concept which says that you only replicate a process as many times as much is the probability of fault and your expectation of fault tolerance is. No more, no less, right? Let's say you were creating a database for your organization to record all the employees numbers, right? You most probably are not even gonna replicate the database. You most probably are just gonna take snapshots and backups, and that's all. So no crash fault tolerance required for you. But you scale the problem up, and your security requirements go up. You replicate it maybe once, and then you replicate it 4 times, or maybe you replicate it based on geo locations, right? But the cost that is spent on like replication and fault tolerance only increases with your use case. What's happening with Ethereum, I guess, is the like all the applications, irrespective of their security requirements, are being replicated as many times as the most like valuable use case is being, or most security intensive use case is being replicated. The same security guarantees are being given to a transaction that's happening for board apes as is given for a very simple like maybe on blockchain on smart contract game that is out there that has no value at all. So yeah, I mean, empirically speaking, like singular most like security intensive transactions would at that particular point of time have been those Bored Ape NFTs. And the like security requirement, or the cost that security requirement required the gas fees to go up, and because of that, all the singular simple use cases had to stop their cease their operations, right? And that's where the failure of a singular world computer is. Maybe not all the applications are worth running on a high security singular world computer. Maybe some of the lower ones that you do not think are worth paying thousands of dollars of gas fees for transaction and ensuring security are should maybe exist on some other chains. Maybe should exist on less energy intensive and less replicated systems. So yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents or take on the whole, like in from the engineering perspective, what my understanding of distributed systems and like security requirements for fault tolerant systems are, and how much is too much.
Yeah, very interesting insights there. And you mentioned security. Do you think that NFTs and NFT projects would need their own separate blockchains themselves? Obviously, AssetMantle is a layer one that facilitates the creation of NFTs and marketplaces. But do you think each NFT project, is there a case for them to have their own separate blockchains to create a stable and consistent user experience? Or can you give us the case of why they should build on AssetMantle, perhaps?
So like I think that in general, like any application that is like that is scaling up, that has more like users than let's say like more than 1,000 or 2,000 users, should definitely consider running on their own chain. The reason for that is uh, the any system that is like meant to scale, if it's built on a shared like resource with multiple projects that is limited, then you're gonna head into scalability issues. If I have like, let's say if AWS only had like 100 systems, and I were building on AWS, and initially like my requirements were just for like, let's say like one CPU core, but I knew that like it's going to scale up to a point where I would have 100 CPU core usage, and I built the whole technology just to run on AWS, then like, yeah, I'm going to run into like scalability issues. So I see this problem the same way. It's like Ethereum has a limited number of transactions that can fit inside one block, right? And there are so many projects utilizing it. There's a cap to how much you can fit inside. And if you want to like scale to a point where everyone in the world is utilizing your NFTs, definitely like that is not the way to go. Then I think all different applications would have the chain that want to scale. The secondary thing is, except from scalability, it's the like storage aspect on blockchain. Storage is the most valuable resource that exists, and NFTs, as I discussed earlier, are only valuable if the metadata, if the content, if the operational part of it at least is stored on chain and is not ephemeral. So but if we have n number of like x given amount of storage like a chain could have, and again infinite operation time period, then in that scenario I think it makes sense again from scalability aspect to like run it on their own individual uh, optimized chain, which will optimize on like either storage or transaction based on like how heavy the NFTs are on transaction or storage. So each different use case should be served by each different like guarantees of scalability, TPS, security. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think building NFT use cases on separate blockchains make a lot of sense. With respect to AssetMantle, like our initial thought process was to build out a set of modules that anyone can utilize to build their own blockchain for NFT. And AssetMantle was just supposed to be like a proprietor zone per se, a zone where you can just test out how the how your marketplace would look like before like spinning up your own version of it, right? Kind of like before you make your own custom website that has more utilities, you first most probably utilize some online editor that gives you like close to what your requirements are, the website that works. So yes, AssetMantle is a uh, uh, multi-tenant NFT marketplace. It's not just one marketplace. It allows for multiple marketplaces to exist inside one chain, and it's a mechanism to get and onboard as many NFT creators on top of the ecosystem as possible. And maybe one of the like marketplaces become too big. Maybe a government use case comes, or enterprise use case comes, where they want to like, let's say, store all the social security numbers or all the like identities on chain, right? That would require different level of security, that will require different level of storage, and it would make a lot of sense to like spin this off as a separate chain. But for small use cases, for use cases that are just trying to figure out what, like creators just trying to figure out where to start, and having that whole like interoperability aspect, I think uh, AssetMantle is just built as a on ramp towards like Web3 for these creators, and not only creators. I think any other kind of use cases as well, asset tokenization use cases as well.
Do you have any thoughts on like how the Ethereum network could improve to like better serve NFTs in terms of like the big spikes and so on? Like, I don't know, have some kind of load balancing or whatever that makes it easier for like just kind of balancing out the NFT sell spikes, something like that.
I think the like off-chain front running prevention is something that is gonna hugely help these use cases. So, like basically, what's happening here right now is front running. It's a front running to the max, right? I see an NFT listed and I see a person ready to bid X number of dollars on it. I don't know what the value of NFT is, but I know what this person is willing to pay, which implies that I can front run and like increase his like increment his bid by one and send my transaction into the mempool because it's not included yet. He has not been able to buy it yet, right? And how do I front run this guy? I just increase my gas price, right? I just pay more, and this leads to a all-out war that happens. So there is a very interesting technology out there called VDF, variable delay functions. So how they work is you expose the hash or the secret, or not a secret, identifier of the thing to be auctioned first, and then off chain at your end, you have a mechanism to do computations that are non-parallelizable. So, for example, routing a number is non-parallelizable. However many cores you have, the routing process is taking a root over of a number is always gonna be time dependent more than the core dependent, number of cores dependent or thread dependent, thread bound, time bound, and thread bound operation. So you take this identifier of the thing that is supposed to be auctioned, and then you start doing operations on top of it. And if you observed and made a bid first, and you did more number of iterations, whenever you are submitting the transaction, the gas doesn't matter. The person who did the most amount of iteration should be the one that is considered for buying the NFT, because he has submitted a proof that he has been observing and he had made the bid before anyone else. So that's a front-running mechanism that I think can solve the whole gas wars that are happening right now in Ethereum.
Yeah, it seems like a very elegant solution that should be deployed. And I almost wonder, now we can shift gears into the Mantle stake drop. So this was, a very successful way of distributing the Genesis drop of MNTL. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the stake drop in your perspective? Why did you choose to do it the way it was planned and executed? And are you happy with the results achieved?
Yeah, definitely. Right now on just talking about the results, and there are some positives and there are some negatives as well. So talking about positive, right now we have 84,000 wallets, and the transactions that we have done in the last two weeks is soon approaching 1 million transactions, and it's a 2-week-old chain. So it's only been because a lot of people interacted with the blockchain. The issue that happens with majority of the airdrop is majority of the airdrops mechanisms are based on snapshots, and there is no control or there is no effort that one person can put to be or be able to predict what chain and what snapshot are going to be taken, right? Either you keep your assets liquid and just lock them away and forget about it to make the most amount of airdrop in the project that you're interested in, or there's not a lot you can do in those airdrop mechanisms. You're lucky is like a lottery, and what do you do with a lottery? You generally treat it like such. You treat it like free money, right? You did not want it, someone gave it to you. That's the first problem. The second problem is the number of users, right, that are maximum in that airdrop. If you're taking a snapshot, total number of users at that particular point of time on that project are the users that you're going to get, no more, no less, irrespective of who would wanted to have participated or if your reach could have been bigger, better, right? So if the airdrops are always based on snapshot, the total number of users in the ecosystem are always remain a constant. Those who are in, there's no place or point of entry for new people, right? Which is wrong. The whole purpose of airdrop is to give access to people to be able to try your platform, right? So that's why we picked a mechanism which is not based on historical data or a snapshot that no one has control over. It's dependent on it's live. All the calculations are done live, and there is a game aspect, a gamification aspect, and there is efforts that you can put to be able to ensure more number of rewards and place for entry for new participants as well. It's not just bound to only X number of constant airdrop holders that are in the ecosystem and have been getting the most out of it. And that's why I think stake drop mechanism was kind of innovation wise good thing that proved itself with respect to the number of transaction and wallet that we achieved. But at the same time, implementation wise, I think we did not expect the scale at which we got responses. We were expecting somewhere around 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 wallets to participate per chain, but in Cosmos Hub we got like 65,000 wallets. Now the amount of time, the engineering wise, it takes to like process one block, we only optimized it for like 10,000 wallets max, and then we got 65,000 wallets. So we're processing started getting delayed, and the people started getting confused and angry, and like if you FUD, people start fudding the project. And yeah, I mean, that's the negative side of the whole thing. Like uh, as we put it, like fail successfully.
And like now that the token is launched and the mainnet is launched, like can you walk us a bit through like the tokenomics and like what is the targeted staking years, like what's the inflation rate, and how is that going to change over the next coming years as well?
Yes. So like the big pointers with respect to token economics, the like 50% of initial circulating supply is like airdropped to end user of the platform. So because we understand that like the technology is the small part of an NFT platform, it's the uh, creators and the collectors that make the platform what it is. So community first. So the token is the currency of the culture, and that we aim to distribute to the like people whose culture it is, right? So 50% there. Although at the same time, to incentivize the like projects coming on board, we did have to reserve uh, like 30% of the tokens for like community pool. So this pool is meant to like spend based on community proposals on projects, not community, I will say DAO proposals, and have enough like liquidity inside it to bootstrap DAOs. Uh, so that like yeah, the scalability aspect can come in with respect to doing business development and onboarding from a more decentralized perspective, rather than the like a team itself with its like doing the BD for it. So which leads to a exponential aspect of it. The more the token like use case and the value increases, the more value there is to give out to new projects, the more resourceful the DAOs become, and the more they can all scale up together. So yeah, the reflexivity concept, your token value leads to more adoption leads to more token value, and it all feeds into itself. So yeah, that was a thought process with respect to like token economics and how to like bootstrap the new projects and creators initially for the first 2 years. The secondary aspect of the like token economics is the dynamic aspect of it, which is the inflation rate and halving. So the team is gonna like planning to commit to this particular project, as we have been working for it the last 4 years, and we aim to work on it for the next 20 years, as well as the asset mantle development team, part of the asset mantle development team. So the inflation schedule is like set for the next 20 years. The halving happens over the next set of 20 years. And by that particular point of time, we expect the fees on top of the chain to be enough to support the validators and the POS the consensus on top of the chain, so that the inflation aspect does not come into picture. Initially, the inflation is set to 75%, and it's set to half every 2 years. So, so the initial like inflation has been designed in such a way that like the distribution happens to the initial like the majority of the tokens are not with the people that initially hold it. Majority of the people tokens are with the people who are staking it, and this ensures like a more equitable distribution of the token. The people who are like sticking to the token, holding the token, are the one that become the recipients, and the people who are trying to rug the token or trying to exit the token are the ones who like never become overall in the overall like picture, the bigger holders of the token. So that's the viewpoint and perspective we had with respect to like inflation, and halving was with respect to the chain getting to a point that it becomes self-sustainable with respect to the fee generated on top of the chain for the chain operators to be profitable while like running the chain.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. And there will be also more information available on the AssetMantle profile page on staking rewards in due time here. Now to get into a question about the Genesis creators that were selected. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of selecting the Genesis creators and maybe who your favorite project is amongst them? Mine, for instance, is Mantle Monkeys. I can't wait to see these come out and see how the Monkey DAO plays out as well.
Yeah, I would have to like admit to my like ignorance a little bit here. I'm more at the technical end of it, and the creator onboarding. Like I know my code, but I have zero capability to like understand or curate art or rate it at all. So the business team has been the one that has like designed the mechanism to like onboard and curate the Genesis projects. So I don't have like a lot of views into like how and why, but the overall idea and the direction, the vision that we onboarded with was these that we want like new creators to come on board, the ones that have never participated in the web3 ever or have created NFTs ever. So creators that were I mean, the distribution channels are not very well built for creators right now, and Web3 just enables them to take ownership of their distribution and royalties. So I wanted new projects, great projects that are out there to come on board and be first time exposed to Web3, and also Web3 be exposed to them through AssetMantle. So, and secondarily, we were not expecting to like onboard some huge like use cases that will just overtake the chain, and like as I mentioned, the security of the chain is dependent on the token price, and if the overall token value that is staked is not equivalent to like let's say the NFT that are on top of it, then there is always a chance for a hack or a failure. So that's the secondary thing that we wanted to slowly like go to a place where we onboard and get bigger and bigger use cases on top. Having said that, like just to drop in alpha, we have got Christie's that is set to like start utilizing AssetMantle as well as a big use case coming on top. So my favorite project from Genesis creators, I really enjoy Mantle Monkeys as well. Mine I would say would be like Mantle Monkeys. I really like that particular project. So yeah.
All right. Nice. Yeah. Just check it out, guys. If you're listening here, make sure to check out the projects on AssetMantle. And can you give us like one piece of advice you would give for new NFT investors, or like for any NFT investors? Like, what's one thing everyone should keep in mind when investing in NFTs?
The value of NFTs, I think, come from a few aspects. One of them is the rarity aspect. If like there are X number of NFTs only that are gonna exist, then definitely that gets. I mean, any asset in the world, the value of it comes from its rarity. So rarity is one aspect. The second aspect is who created it. Like a human being can be considered like a limited set on its own, right? Limited production person on its own, mint on its own, right? As a human being, maybe I can write X amount of code in my lifetime, and similarly an artist can only produce X amount of art in his world. So that rarity again gives the work its value. So who created it, the rarity of it, and how much of it is on chain versus how much is on the web 2. Like how much can be operationalized on chain and what utility can be given to you on chain, not off chain. Off chain utilities can be retracted back. TNCs apply, as they say. but whatever is on chain is like what's going to stay forever, right? Or the blockchain guarantee that it's going to stay forever. So yeah, I think these are the three aspects that someone should be considering while buying NFTs.
Well, we certainly appreciate the rarity of you coming on the show here and explaining all the topics you have today. I guess to wrap up, just one last question before we get into the closing statements here. Is there any announcements you want to break live on the stream here today?
So with respects to announcement, yes, there are a few to make. Like, of course, starting from the obvious, we have got our like mainnet live, the wallet and explorer are live, the website is live if anyone wants to check out. The claim process for Osmosis LP providers is live. The 2 out of 5 missions are live. The third one will come live tomorrow. The proposal for Osmo incentivization for the Osmo mantle pool is live. So like Osmo holders, if they want to vote on it or whatever direction, so that's another thing. And on the 12th of May, we are going to have our Genesis creators releasing their NFTs for lazy minting on top of the platform. So yeah, 12th May is the big announcement, I would say, that has not been like put anywhere else right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for breaking that live on today's show. So look forward, guys. A lot coming up in the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks here for AssetMantle. And again, it's been so great having you on the show here today, Deepanshu. If you could just give the community watching a place where they can follow you and learn more about the stuff that AssetMantle is working on.
Yes. So like my handle is right on the screen, Deepanshu DR, and I go by the same username on all the platforms out there, LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, Instagram. It's all the same. So yeah, I mean, but the more important one is the other one on screen, that is AssetMantle. Again, AssetMantle goes by the same tag everywhere. On AssetMantle Twitter, there's the link tree which lists out all the links to join the community, to take part in discussion, to read more about AssetMantle. It's mentioned in the link tree link on AssetMantle Twitter, whose handle is like flashing right on the screen right now.
Awesome. And thank you for everyone for watching today's episode. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also view other episodes on Spotify and YouTube. And make sure to give the thumbs up and share this episode around. As always, guys, happy staking and take care.
Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.